Hello everyone, welcome to USA State. If you have a green card, or someone in your family does, what I'm about to tell you could change everything about how you travel, work, and live in the United States starting this month. USCIS just confirmed a major update for permanent residents, and most people have no idea it's happening until it's too late for them. Stick with me for the next few minutes because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what changed, what it means for you, and what you need to do right now to protect your status. Hit that like button and subscribe right now because we cover every major USCIS and Green Card update the moment it happens, and you don't want to miss the next one. Okay, let's get into it. This isn't a small tweak buried in some policy manual nobody reads. This is a real shift in how permanent residents are monitored, questioned, and evaluated going forward. And the reason it matters so much right now is timing. A lot of these changes are landing at the same time, which means the impact on regular families is bigger than usual. Picture this. A man named Daniel has had his green card for 6 years. He works, pays taxes, and thought he was completely safe. Then one trip abroad, a routine airport check, and suddenly he's pulled aside for extra questioning about his travel history and old social media posts. Daniel is not alone. Thousands of permanent residents are walking into situations just like this without even knowing the rules changed under them. So here is what's actually happening this August, broken down piece by piece, so nothing catches you off guard. The first big shift is enhanced vetting, and it goes far beyond your paperwork now. Immigration officers are actively reviewing social media accounts, including Facebook, X, and Instagram, looking for anything they consider a red flag. This isn't just for new applicants either. It's happening during green card renewals and even naturalization interviews. Here's the part that surprises people the most. An old post from years ago, even one you forgot about, can resurface during your case review. Officers are specifically trained to look for anything they consider a fraud indicator, a security concern, or language they see as hostile toward the country. I've heard from viewers who had smooth interviews years ago, only to face tough new questions this year about things they posted long before their green card was even approved. The point isn't to make you paranoid about every single post. It's to make sure you understand that the internet is now part of your immigration file, whether you like it or not. Approval in the past does not guarantee approval now. Officers can revisit old arrests, old travel patterns, and yes, old posts from years back. That means the advice is simple but important. Think carefully about what's public on your accounts and clean up anything that could be misread. Now let's talk about travel, because this is where a lot of permanent residents accidentally put their status at risk. Biometric tracking systems can now instantly pull up your complete travel history the moment your passport gets scanned. If you're outside the United States for 6 to 12 months, officers can start asking questions about whether you abandoned your residency. And if a trip goes past 1 year, that can seriously threaten your permanent resident status, even if you fully intended to come back. So if you're planning a long trip, don't just book the ticket and go. There are steps you can take first to protect yourself. If you know you'll be away for an extended period, look into a re-entry permit using Form I-131 before you leave the country. And if that long trip could affect your path to citizenship down the road, there's a separate form, N-470, that helps preserve your residence for naturalization purposes. Skipping these steps is one of the most common and most avoidable mistakes permanent residents make. Officers at ports of entry now have instant access to your complete departure and arrival history, cross-referenced across multiple government databases within seconds of scanning your passport. That means the days of quietly slipping through with a vague explanation about a long trip are pretty much over. The system knows exactly how long you were gone and where. If your job, your family, or a personal emergency requires you to be outside the country for a while, plan ahead instead of hoping nobody notices. Nobody misses it anymore. Quick pause here, because if you're finding this useful, that like button really does help this video reach more people who need to hear it. It only takes a second. Now, here's something a lot of people don't realize until it's already a problem. You are legally required to carry proof of your status. That means your green card, officially called Form I-551, should be with you, especially when traveling or during certain employment checks. If your card is lost, stolen, or damaged, don't wait around. File Form I-90 immediately to get it replaced. Walking around without valid proof or letting a renewal lapse can create headaches you really don't want during an already stressful time. Think about it from a practical angle, too. Employers use your green card for I-9 verification, and a lapsed or missing card can create real problems at work, not just at the border. Renewals also take time to process, so if your 10-year card is getting close to its expiration date, don't wait until the last month to start that paperwork. Let's shift to some good news for a change, because not everything in this update is about tighter restrictions. The August Visa Bulletin actually brought forward positive movement for a lot of family-sponsored applicants. USCIS confirmed that family-based applicants filing to adjust their status this August can use the more favorable dates for filing chart. The F2A category, which covers spouses and unmarried children under 21 of green card holders, saw one of the biggest jumps in this bulletin. Other family categories, including F1, F2B, F3, and F4, also moved forward, opening the door for more people to finally file their paperwork. If you've been waiting on a priority date for years, this could be the month your case finally starts moving. But here's an important catch. Employment-based applicants are not getting the same benefit this round. Those cases still have to follow the stricter final action dates chart, so the rules are not identical across every category. If you're not sure which chart applies to your case, check your priority date against the current bulletin before you file anything. Remember, this bulletin comes out fresh every single month, and categories can move forward or backward depending on demand and annual visa limits. With the fiscal year ending in September, there's added pressure on how many visas are left to allocate, which is part of why this particular August update matters so much for family cases. If you have relatives with pending petitions, this is a great month to double-check your case status and make sure nothing slipped through the cracks. Now, let's talk about something that affects your wallet directly, because money matters here too. USCIS has proposed a significant fee increase for the naturalization application, Form N-400, along with related hearing requests. If you're getting close to eligibility for citizenship, this is exactly the kind of update where timing your application could genuinely save you money. Waiting too long isn't always the safe choice. Sometimes filing sooner rather than later works in your favor. This proposal hasn't necessarily taken full effect everywhere yet, but proposed fee increases like this one tend to move forward. So treating it as a real possibility is smarter than assuming it'll disappear. Talk to a professional about your specific timeline if citizenship is on your radar in the next year or two. A short conversation now could save you real money later. There's also an expanded public charge rule now fully in effect, and it reaches further than a lot of people expect. If you've received certain means-tested public benefits, like Medicaid, SNAP, or housing assistance, for 12 months or more within a 3-year window, that can trigger a public charge finding. This can affect renewals and naturalization applications, so it's worth understanding exactly what counts before you assume you're in the clear. The definition of public benefits has also expanded to include factors like English proficiency, credit history, and work history, which many applicants don't expect to be evaluated on at all. If any of this sounds like it could apply to your situation, don't just guess. A quick consultation with an immigration professional can clarify exactly where you stand before you file anything. Now, if you're a permanent resident running a small business, there's another change you need to know about. New restrictions limit access to certain Small Business Administration loan programs for ventures where green card holders are part owners. This shift started earlier this year, but it's still catching business owners off guard because most never expected immigration status to touch their financing options. If you're a permanent resident with an ownership stake in a business that relies on SBA-backed loans, it's worth reviewing your financing structure now, rather than discovering a problem mid-application. And one more piece of this puzzle involves international travel restrictions that have expanded significantly. The list of countries facing travel restrictions has grown substantially, and if you or your family have ties to any of those nations, extra scrutiny at the border is now the norm, not the exception. Even if your own status is completely secure, family members trying to visit or immigrate from an affected country could face new delays, so it's worth checking the current list if this applies to you. I know none of this is the fun kind of news, but staying informed beats getting blindsided every single time. I know this is a lot of information, and if you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now, that's completely normal. Take a breath, because in the next part of this video, I'm going to break down exactly what you should actually do about all of this, step by step. Let's go back to Daniel for a second, because his story actually has a helpful ending. After his airport questioning, he sat down with an immigration attorney, cleaned up his documentation, filed the right forms before his next trip, and hasn't had an issue since. The lesson here isn't to panic. It's to get ahead of these changes before they catch you off guard the way they almost caught him. So here's your practical action list, and I want you to actually use this, not just watch it and forget it 5 minutes later. First, review your social media privacy settings and think about what an officer reviewing your case might see. Second, if you're planning any trip longer than 6 months, talk to an immigration professional about a re-entry permit before you leave. Third, make sure your green card is valid and with you, and if it's expired or close to it, start your renewal now rather than later. Fourth, if you're eligible for citizenship soon, look into your timeline now, because fee changes could make waiting more expensive. Fifth, check the current visa bulletin for your exact category, because family-based cases especially may have new opportunities to move forward. None of these steps take long, but each one could be the difference between a smooth process and a stressful, drawn-out complication. Sixth, if you have any means-tested public benefits in your recent history, gather your documentation now so you're not scrambling to explain gaps later. Seventh, if you own a business or you're part owner of one, check whether any of your financing depends on programs that are now restricted for permanent residents. Eighth, keep copies, digital and physical, of every immigration document you have. Petitions, receipts, prior approvals, all of it. You never know when you'll need to prove your history quickly. I know that's a long list, but you don't need to do everything today. Pick the one that applies most to your situation right now and start there. Now, I want to be honest with you about something important before we continue. Immigration policy changes fast, sometimes month to month, and rules that apply today can shift again by the time you watch this. That's exactly why staying informed isn't optional anymore. It's necessary, especially if your status, your family, or your future citizenship is on the line. This is also exactly why I make these videos, not to scare you, but to make sure you're never caught off guard by news you should have heard weeks earlier. Think about how many people only find out about a rule change after it already cost them a delayed case, a denied application, or a missed opportunity to file early. My goal is simple. I want you to be the person who already knew, not the person scrambling to catch up after the fact. And honestly, that's the difference this channel is trying to make, one update at a time. Explained the way a friend would explain it to you, not the way a government website buries it in legal language. If you found this helpful, and I really hope you did, drop a comment below and let me know which part of this update affects you the most. Are you dealing with travel questions, worried about the naturalization fee, or waiting on a family-based case to move forward? I genuinely want to know, and I read every comment. And if you know someone with a green card, a family member, a coworker, a friend, please share this video with them right now. This kind of information spreads best person to person, and you could genuinely save someone from a mistake that costs them months of stress or thousands of dollars in legal fees. Before you go, one more thing. If you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because USCIS is expected to release more updates in the coming weeks. We'll be breaking down every single one the moment it happens, in plain, simple language, without the confusing legal jargon. I want to leave you with this. Being a permanent resident in the United States right now means staying alert, staying informed, and taking small proactive steps before problems show up. You don't have to be an expert, you just have to know what's changing and act early, and that's exactly what we're here to help you do, video after video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It genuinely means a lot, and it tells me this content is actually helping people. Drop your questions in the comments, share this with someone who needs it, and I'll see you in the very next video with the next update the moment it drops. Take care of yourself, protect your status, and I'll talk to you soon.